Hi, it's Dr. Panny here, and I want to thank you for taking our online health quiz. We realize that many people out there today are struggling with their ability to basically enjoy sustainable weight loss. Many times people are struggling to even lose weight, and others basically can't seem to keep it off. And unfortunately, today's answers are not exactly what they were 20 to 30 years ago. In the past, exercise and a healthy diet seemed to be enough for most people to basically get the weight off and oftentimes keep it off. But in today's unique climate and circumstance, there's basically a number of different factors that can influence that physiological dynamic that basically we call weight loss. And many people are struggling. There's nothing worse, actually, than basically eating like a mouse and exercising regularly and not seeing the scale move. It's so frustrating and unfortunate. And the reality is many of those people are not necessarily lacking in effort or discipline, they're lacking in physiological balance. What can happen is sometimes our body's metabolism can get off track, and it can do that in a number of different areas. But when that metabolism gets off track, then it becomes very hard to basically discipline our way out of that. So if we're experiencing those physiological hiccups, then we have to understand what those are and then bring those back into balance before we can enjoy the benefits of sustainable weight loss. So after reviewing the answers to your health quiz, it would appear that adrenal issues are your primary roadblock that's basically stopping you from enjoying sustainable weight loss. And that bears a little bit of explanation. Many people understand what the adrenals are, but others don't. The adrenals are little glands that sit on top of our kidneys on both sides. And they produce a number of hormones, but one of the most notable hormones that the adrenals produce is something called cortisol. Cortisol is what we call our survival hormone. It helps to maintain stable blood sugar between meals and when we sleep. It helps us to basically enjoy stable energy throughout the day. It helps to reduce inflammation, and it also basically is released in regards to stress and helps us to manage that stress. So cortisol can be invaluable when it's used appropriately. But many people today are finding themselves in a situation where their stress demands are higher than ever. And I'm not just talking about emotional, we're talking about physical stress, chemical stress, and emotional stress. And if they're experiencing increased stress in those areas, then their need and use of cortisol might increase throughout the day. The problem is we only get a finite amount of cortisol per day. We don't get an unlimited amount. So if we wind up using our cortisol too early in the day, we tend to basically develop an imbalance in the adrenals. So when the adrenals are out of balance, they generally go in one of two directions. One is adrenal fatigue. Those people are really struggling with energy throughout the day. They're experiencing almost a survival type mode where they just want to duck and hide. They basically don't want to deal with all the rigors of life. If you're in an adrenal fatigue state, it becomes extremely hard to just basically get through your activities of daily life, let alone adding to that list. The other extreme is what we call adrenal overactivation. If people are in a heightened state of stress, and they're basically releasing more cortisol and possibly even another hormone produced by the adrenals called adrenaline, then all of a sudden they're going to have a very hard time with regards to sleep cycle. They're going to have an issue with also energy. They're going to perspire more easily. They might have rapid heart rate. They could become a little bit more anxious and emotional. So on either end, adrenal issues present us with a host of challenges, from sleep dysregulation to energy challenges to cravings for salt to basically other things that can really impact our physiology and our quality of life. So if you find yourself under more physical, chemical, and emotional stresses than your body can handle, then it's one thing to basically reduce our stresses, but it's another thing to actually reboot your system. Sometimes those stresses are gone, they're in the past, but our body stays in that state. And so what we want to do is help people to get out of survival mode, to go back into a rest and recovery state where their body can begin to express its potential metabolically and to thrive again. So if you're experiencing some challenges with regards to adrenal imbalances, it's going to be very difficult to discipline your way out of that. In those cases, the body needs to be brought back gently into a better state of balance, what we call a reboot. And when that occurs, suddenly someone can basically start to express their potential and improve their metabolism and their capacity not only to lose weight, but to keep it off as well.